Welcome back to the channel, Crypto Trend Trader here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin. But before we get started, I'd like to remind you it's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. So here we have the Coinbase chart. I'm going to flip over to the daily real quick, and we're just going to take a look at, basically everything's just been playing out exactly how we've been talking about it. We basically broke down below here, couldn't get back above the 200, and then essentially tested back up, got rejected, got the powerful move down. We came down exactly to the 377, which was our next target. Just like we were talking about, it comes into confluence exactly with the 786. So we went ahead and took a small buy off that. It did line up perfectly with the fib circle target as well, like we were talking about, and we did break down from the support again. But I don't want to get too greedy with it, because you'll notice that recently we did the exact same thing right before that powerful move back up. And essentially I would expect, if we're going to reverse one of these positions, the three spots we could reverse from, essentially, in my opinion, are the 786, the 886, and like double bottoming, or like the true test of the 618 down here, of like the massive move up. Let me go ahead and tone this down just a little bit. It's getting a little intense, but that is basically us basing off the bottom here, 618 and 236, of the entire move up. Alright, so now we come down, we hit the base there, we shot back up, retested the downward sloping resistance, and we got as high up as the yellow 0.5 right here. And the yellow was from the top of the range right here down to the bottom. So from after coming off of the 0.5, I would expect us to come down and find support, if we were going to find support, at the 236. But because we didn't find support at the 236 and then get a move back up, I would say that that was a failed swing right there, and that we're actually going to come back down. And the yellow bottom is our bottom down here. So I would say that the most likely thing that's going to happen is we're going to come back down here and we're going to retest the bottom. Now, it is possible that we could come up to the 0.5, come back down here below the 236, and then reverse back up to like the 618 or even to higher prices. But that's just not typically how the market works. Typically, once you get the failure, you come back up and then you fail to find support at one of the previous fib levels, or usually like 2 steps down. It means you're not gonna be swinging back up. You're going back down. So since we already hit the 786, and we did get a decent little move off of it, a decent little buy up off of it at the close of that 4-hour candle here at 3 o'clock, but it still wasn't anything crazy, nothing to write home about. The move down, essentially like a third of the move down got bought up, but we've been consistently just moving down for so long that it's just such an insequential or insubstantial amount that it just basically doesn't mean much to me. So, and then now you'll see as the candle closed there and we started getting continuation, like sell off for the last 45 minutes. Now, I'm not convinced now that I'm not going to close this position immediately, because I think we could get back up as high as the retest right here at the 83.42 range. But seeing as how this is looking right now, it doesn't look to me like we're just going to all of a sudden reverse this up here. But we'll see what happens. We may just consolidate around this area, and this just be our new little range right here. And then we could get the breakdown to the 886, or we could get our move back up. But at this point in time, what I would expect is, you'll see how this happens. We get that sell-off, it comes down, we consolidate, and then we get the big move up. There's going to be some kind of accumulation take place if this is going to be the higher low swing that takes us to a new high off of that previous one here that we put in at 10.5 off that big move. So that's how I'm basically looking at it right now. So the way I'm looking at it is, if we came down off of the white, basically when we came down off the 382 and we fell down to the 618, and then we never really got to bounce back up off the 618. We just continued down to the 786. So coming from the 382 to the 786, I would think that the most likely area, if we were going to come back up to get to, would be the 0.5. So I think that the highest level we would get to on the 0.5 would be here at the 8900 range, which again is coming into confluence perfectly with that downward sloping resistance. So I don't think it's unrealistic to think we could get a move back up to this range right here. Which would appear to be bullish, obviously, because we would be putting in a low and then a higher low. We would be putting in a high, and then if we could break out of this pattern, potentially threaten and put in a new high, and start continuing to the upside. And that was in fact our swing off the 618, and it just got a little bit front run. But what I would think at this point in time is more likely to happen, in my opinion, is I think we're going to come down here, we're going to hit that 618, and we're going to truly fulfill like the 236, 618. Because if you just kind of look, and again, depending what chart you look at, the 236 and the 618 came in perfectly right here at 71.89, and we didn't quite get there. We got front run at about 73.50, and then we got that massive move. But you know, you did have plenty of time to buy it while it was down there, to tell you the truth. But I don't know. Typically, these algos, they like to reach their targets. So, and then looking at the actual indicators, we did get a knife stick down here pretty far. That was a pretty solid knife, which doesn't always call the bottom, but it typically says like that's the swing moves like bottoming area around here. So, you know, even if that wasn't the exact bottom, you know, we could essentially get down here to that 7,500 range, or we could just find ourselves like basically just coming down to like 79.50 or something like that. But I would expect at this point in time, off the fib circle, off the retracement at the 786, there's quite a bit of confluence right here, and I think it's likely that we could actually get our move up at least to the point that we broke down from, so back to like the 8,500 range. But again, at this point in time, I'm not ready to just get like crazy bullish on this thing or anything. I would wait until we start taking out highs, in my opinion. That's not financial advice, until I start getting bullish on this. I mean, we've been in a downward trend for quite some time now. We got a strong, powerful move up, and you could argue that we were consolidating after the move, but then after we got this sell-off right here, I mean, that doesn't look bullish to me. And then with the dump on top, I mean, we could find support right here and get a move, but I think it's more likely at this point in time that we're going to come back down here and we're going to retest the low 7,000 range, you know, if not break to a lower price indeed. But this is, honestly, in my opinion, right around here, this is the top. This is the most likely reversal point if we're going to stay bullish on this market. Realistically, if we come down to the 618 and then we can get a move up from there, I can be bullish on it. But if we come down to the 786 here, it's going to be a lot harder to get bullish, because then we're just descending triangle, breakdown, descending triangle, breakdown. But it is possible. It's definitely possible we still get down here to the 5,400 range. I mean, anything's possible. We could go to new lows. We could go to new highs tomorrow. But, you know, we trade likely, you know, what's likely to happen, and, you know, use our edge. So at this point in time, like I said, the way the jewel poked down here, you'll see when we get these powerful moves, it's not always the end, but it typically means there's going to be a strong move in the opposite direction, like shortly afterwards. So we dumped down right here, and then it shot back up, but then we still come down and put in a lower low, you know, off that one. And then this is a powerful one. We sold off down here, consolidated, and then we got a massive move up. This was another one right here. Sell off, consolidate, get a decent little pop up, but again, you know, they're not nearly that reliable when they're counter trend moves. So, and then not to mention on top of that, you know, the blue and the purple are just now crossing over. So we could potentially get continuation at least down here to retest. So at this point in time, that's what I'm expecting to happen. I'm expecting us to come back down here at some point in time and retest and basically confirm. Even if we don't get all the way back down, I would like to, if we got down even to the 886, I would be more confident. Or if we got down to, you know, one of these other more substantial fib levels,